Hello, welcome back. In the last video, we learned about conditioners and operators and how they are the building blocks of decision making in programming. In this video, we are going to learn about variables. Now, I know I said in the last video that we will build our calculator in this one, but I later realized we haven't learned about variables yet. I could have just moved on to building the calculator, but variables are so important, and variables are not just a scratch thing. They are a fundamental concept in programming, and it's that important that we have to dedicate a full video to talk about it. Let's dive in. Alright, so let's see variables in action. Now, if you notice, I'm using Scratch on the browser. The reason is because during the process of planning this video, I ran into an error where some of these inputs don't work, and it usually happens when I get an info from Scratch. So let's leave that, but for this video to be seamless, just use the browser version. If you have the desktop version installed, just use the browser version. So to demonstrate variables, I'm going to bring in another character. I'm going to go to choose a sprite, and I'm going to choose the first one here. And now I want to rotate it so it's facing the cat. To do that, I'm going to go to direction, click left, right, and now just add minus to 90 to flip it to the left direction. Alright, so let's bring this down a bit. Now I'm going to go to events and use the famous when flat clicked event and go to sensing. So we're going to see some other blocks in Scratch in action in this video, and I love it so much. So I'm going to drag this ask what's your name and wait. Now when we click the flag, it's going to ask what's your name, and whatever value we get is going to be stored in this answer block. So you notice when I click the check mark close to the answer block, you can see the output here at the top left corner of our stage, and it's currently empty. So I'm going to click on the flag and I'm going to ask what's your name, and I'm going to say Tom. We're kind of creating an interaction between two characters, and Tom here is referring to the name of the cat. I'm going to click check, and you see it's outputting the answer we typed in when this question was asked. Okay, so now what we want to do is that we want to store this answer into a variable. Now let's go ahead and do that. Because we'll be creating a variable for the cat, I'm going to go to the cat, and I'm going to go to variables block and click on this make variable button here. Now we have to decide if this variable is going to be for all sprites or for this sprite only. For now, I'm going to keep it for this sprite only, meaning it's not going to be accessible to other sprites. So I'm going to call the name of the variable cat name and click OK. Now this is what we want to do. When name is typed in, we want to be able to get the answer of that name and store it in a variable. To do that, I'm going to go to events, and I'm going to create a custom event that will trigger the cat to save the answer and say it. So I'm going to go to events, and I'm going to use this broadcast message. So I'll click here and create a new message that says say name. So this is the name of our event, say name. And at the end, I'm going to broadcast say name. Now I need to go to my cat sprite and say when I receive say name. When I receive say name, I want to do something. I want to start by setting, I'm going to go to variables and say set my cat name to answer, and then I'm going to go to looks and say my name is whatever we typed in for 2 seconds. So now I'm going to go to operator, and I'm going to use this join operator here. I have to drag this in. Yeah, join operator. And now I'm going to say my name is, and I'll give a space at the end, and then I'm going to go to variables rather, and take this cat name variable and put in here. Let's see what will happen when I click on the flag. When I click on flag, it's going to ask what's your name, and I'm going to type in Tom for the name of our cat. Tom, check, and it says my name is Tom. So what's happening is that when I click on the flag, it's going to ask what's your name and wait for us to type in the name. After typing the name, it's going to broadcast say name. Once this event is broadcasted, I'm going to receive it here and set the name of the cat to answer, and then say my name is whatever we typed in for 2 seconds. Now that we have seen a variable in action, we are going to get a proper definition of what a variable is. A variable is a space in the computer's memory where data such as numbers, letters, or text are stored so they can be retrieved and used later in a program. Now that we have gotten a proper definition of what a variable is, let's learn more about variables in Scratch. Alright, now that we know the definition of a variable, let's look at variable more. So I want you to take note that this cat name is showing here in the list of variables we have. But if I switch to Abby, it's no longer showing. The reason is because we created this variable for just the cat sprite. Now, we have seen the set to block in action for setting a variable value. What about this change by? So you want to use this change by when you are storing a number in your variable. However, if what you add is a text in the variable value, if you use this block, I'm just going to click on it. It's going to change it to a number first, and when you click on it again, it's going to start increasing it by a certain number because it says change by. Now you only want to use this block when you are storing a number. So I'm going to just set the name of our cat back to Tom. Alright, so we also have these two blocks here that comes in handy when we want to show a variable and hide a variable. So if I click hide a variable, so you see cat's name is already selected here. So if I click hide it, it hides it, and if I click show, it's going to show it. And you can also do that by toggling. So you can toggle it here. Now I want to show you that two variables cannot have the same name, meaning if cat's name is already existing as a variable name, you cannot create another variable that will be named cat name. So if I go to make a variable and try to create another variable called cat name, we are going to get a warning from Scratch, and it says a variable named cat name already exists. So once a variable name is existing, you cannot use it again. Now let's create a global variable, a variable that is accessible to all sprites. So I'm going to click make a variable, and I'm going to call this variable size, and let's leave it for all sprites. So I'm going to click OK. So now that we have the size variable here, if I switch to Abby, we still have the size variable there because it's accessible by all sprites. So I'm going to click the cat, and let's use this variable to do something. Let's say we want to change the size of our sprite dynamically. What we can do is to go to event, and I'm going to trigger this code using when key pressed, and I'm going to leave it at space. Now if I go to loops, we have this set size to, and we can put any number we want here. So if I say by 50% and click 50, it's going to make it smaller because the default size is 100. Alright, so I'm going to take this size variable block rather a lot of variable, and I'm going to put it under space. Now we need a loop for this code to run continuously. I'm going to go to control, and then I'm going to drag in the forever loop and snap it below the space key press but you want to make sure that the size block is inside the forever loop. Now what do we want to do? We want to replace this value here with the size variable. I'm going to go to size and drag in the size value there. Alright, so now how do we change the size dynamically? If we go to our variable, there are different readouts in our variable. Readout simply refers to how our variable appear on the stage. Right now, it's on normal readout, so it shows the name of the variable and the value of the variable. I can change it to large readout and just going to give us the value of the variable. If I change it to slider, it's going to give us a slider and we can increase the value of the variable. I can also right click and change the slider range. So if I want the minimum range to be, let's say, 20 and the maximum range to be 200, I can do that and click OK. So the minimum range is now 20 and the maximum range is now 200. Let's click space and see what will happen. Right now, size, notice that it's at the maximum, so that's why it changes the size to 200. But if I reduce now, you see we can control the size in real time. It's changing dynamically as we are moving our slider. So to prove that this variable is truly global, I'm going to stop the code and drag this code to copy it to Abby. And if I go to Abby, we have a copy of this code and we can now change the size of both characters at the same time. So if I click on space, we can change the size of both characters at the same time, but I'm going to keep it at 100, which is default. Alright, so let's look at the key takeaways. A variable is a space in the computer's memory where data is stored. A variable can hold text, numbers, or letters. A variable name is unique, meaning two variables cannot have the same name. The value of a variable can be modified using the set and change blocks, and the visibility of a variable can be toggled on or off. Now that we know what a variable is and how to use it in our program, we are finally ready to build our calculator. I promise this time we are going straight to our calculator. You don't want to miss it. See you there.